Hello there, Wibber here, and today I'm going to be showing you a mod called the Gravestones mod. And what this mod does is add loads of gravestones into Minecraft, as you'd expect, and there's actually 9 different types of gravestone. So what these gravestones do is they store your items when you die. So when you die, one of these gravestones will pop up, depending on which one you've chosen, and then it will store your items, and when you go back to your death site, you can just right click on these, and then click get items, and you'll get your items back. And it also displays an honorary message or something like that, and this honorary message is different depending on what gravestone you buy. But anyway, there's 9 different types of gravestone, as I've already said, and to access the menu where you choose your gravestone, just press M. And all these gravestones have different prices. I'll just clear all the stuff so I haven't got any bought. And all of these have different prices to pay before you can unlock them and use them. So for example, the cheap cross is actually free, so you can use this as soon as you install the mod. But things like the stele, I don't know how you say that, but I think it's like that. It costs like a diamond, and up to the really expensive ones like the angel, which you can see over there and here, gives you a nice little rotating model of the gravestone, so you know what it's going to look like before you actually purchase it. And you just click down here to buy it, and this one's actually really expensive, it costs 5 emeralds, and emeralds are really rare to mine, and you most like to get them by trading, so yeah. And that's pretty much it all for the menu. I'm going to select the cheap cross for now, and then click buy, and you can see it just changed to free. And then when I click set, it's now the gravestone that I will appear when I die. So anyway, I'm just going to show you what each of these gravestones looks like. Actually, before I go on to showing you the different types of graves, I need to show you how to purchase these things properly. So when you press M and choose a grave, for example, and when you click buy, it won't actually let you buy the item unless you're holding the price, well, what it costs in your hand at the time. So if I now click on grave and click buy, it'll buy it. But if I didn't have the item in my hand directly, it wouldn't work. It would tell me that I don't have the items. So that's something handy that you need to know. And so now I'm going to show you the actual different types. So first we've got the cheap cross, which is basically just a wooden cross on top of some dirt. So this is the free one again, and it's very simple if you just want a simple way of finding out where you died. And the next one is the cross, so it's a bit of an upgrade from the cheap cross, and it's basically just like a stone version of it, and it looks a lot more like professional than that, I suppose. And the next one, I don't really know how to say this, I think it's stele or stilly, I don't know, it's probably stele. But anyway, this one's basically just a stone pillar. You can imagine like someone's head being stuck on top of that or something, and that's actually shown later, so you'll see that later anyway. And this next one's called the classic grave, and I'm sure you're all familiar with these. It's just the usual gravestone you get at graveyards. A bit depressing really, but yep, these are the gravestones. And the next one is probably one of my favourites, is the angel. Now these have awesome models and they're really detailed, and they kind of remind me of the weeping angels off Doctor Who, so they're a bit freaky. Definitely don't want to have these shoved around your house at night. It'd be a bit scary really, but luckily I can report that they do not move, so don't worry about that. And yeah, these ones actually have really elaborate messages. I'll just show you now. So it's like Old English. It's like, ye frail mortals who gaze upon this sight, forget not the fate of Whip 179. Once mighty, now surrendered to the inescapable grasp of destiny. Ooh, very like spooky and, you know, creepy. But there we are. The bone skull I'll show you later. That's not actually a grave that you can use. But the next one's the tomb, and you get this like nice little grave stone thingy on a plinth or something, and it's really well detailed and modelled, so I think this is my second favourite. It's really nice. And there we go. And the next one's the knight. Now this kind of reminds me of the knights of the wizard's chest of Harry Potter. If you've watched that, I think it's the first or second one. I think it's the first one, but anyway, yeah, the philosopher's stone. And I can just imagine like lifting his arms up and shoving the sword into a horse, I presume. But there we are. Amazing. That's the knight, and this one actually calls you a hero. So here lies Whip 179. There should be a space there, but you never know. And a knight of first order, great in life, glorious in death. So yeah, very honourable message there. And the next one's the pillar, and it kind of looks like a skeleton meditating on top of a pillar, I presume. But it's probably more like the skeleton's praying or something, but yeah. And he looks like he's wearing sunglasses. Bit of a random point to make there, but yeah. I'm not really a fan of this one, but if you like this kind of thing, then yeah, you could use that one. And finally, we've got the one that really creeps me out. It's the bust. And as I said earlier, it's like the still with a head on top of it, but this one kind of has the top half of your body as well, and it's a bit creepy. So if you really want to see yourself on top of a plinth, there you go. Well, a pillar. And that's kind of awesome, but I'd prefer if it was made out of stone, so if it was like a stone version of you and not just the top half of your body severed off and shoved on top of a pillar. That's a bit creepy, but there you go. So that's all the gravestones, and now I'm going to show you some other features in this mod which are quite cool as well, so yeah. So the next feature of this mod is that you can actually rotate these graves by holding left shift and right clicking on the grave, and it gradually rotates the more you click, and every time you click it rotates by 11.5 degrees, so I think it has 32 rotations before you get back to the start. And by default when you place a grave it will be facing east, so that's something to note. And the next thing I want to show is that sometimes, I think it's a 50% chance, that bones will actually be spawned directly below the graves. So if I dig down here, seems a bit weird really, digging graves, and go down under here, there's actually no bones there, so I'll have to go for a different one. So if we go down here, come on, there we are, there's some bones. So there we go, you can see that we've got a pile of bones directly underneath the grave, and when you break these, it gives you bones. So it's a good way of harvesting bones to grow trees and stuff. But actually when you think about it, it's a bit weird, since when you die you're going to go back to your grave site and then you're going to dig below it and get your bones back, and then use your own bones to grow trees. So using yourself to grow wildlife, well not wildlife, what am I on about, like plants and stuff. So there we go. So yeah, and I forgot to mention that you can also rotate other models, it's not just the cross, so you can rotate these as well. And yes, the weeping angel was moving. It's not a weeping angel though, we'll just call it a weeping angel because it's awesome. And you can also rotate the knight. And it looks like my gravel's fallen down because I destroyed the bones. What a shame. But anyway, now on to the final feature of the mod, which is actually that you can make your own graves. So yeah, onto that bit. So the last thing I want to show you is that you can actually craft graves yourself, and you don't actually need to die to get them. So if you want to use them for decorative purposes, you can use this method. So anyway, you need 5 cobblestone in the crafting grid like a T, and it creates a grave. And then there's some commands you need to do to edit the grave to your preferences. So the first thing you need to do is set the meta for the grave, like that. So you type grave set meta 2, and these are the different types of graves. So if you press M, you'll see that each grave has a number. So you got like 1 to 9 or something, and you just set this meta to one of those to get the grave kind that you like, and then you just enter, and you'll see the grave appears. So that means it's been updated. And the next one you need to do is set the name. So you type grave set name, and then I'm going to choose Bob because everyone likes the name Bob, and then you just submit this, and then it'll add the name Bob to the grave. And the third thing you need to do is set the first message. So this is the bit that appears before the name on the grave when you right click. So I've put here lies, and you need to put an underscore where you want a space, because if you just put space it won't register. So I'm going to set that. And then last one is the message 2, and this is the message that comes after the name. So I've just put cause of death creeper, and then I'm just going to submit this. And now when I place the grave, you can see it's type 4. Well, type 4. We've got the gravestone. When I right click, it says here lies Bob, cause of death creeper. So that's how you can craft the graves. And this button down here is that you can salvage the grave that you've placed, like that. And that brings me on to another point I forgot to mention earlier. Other players can't actually destroy these graves if they come across them, unless you've already looted it. If you've looted it and there's nothing left in the grave, then other players can then destroy them. So yeah, well, salvage them. You don't get the grave once you destroy them. So there we go. So thank you for watching. This has been the Gravestones mod, and definitely check this mod out, and I'll see you next mod video.